Time to walk around the desert for 40 years.
Just give me a few minutes. Like I said earlier in the video, 350 artists were used for this film. Jeffrey Katzenberg wanted this movie to look the best it could be. Filmmakers even took a 2-week trip to Egypt to make sure this film looked accurate.
Oh,
I love that dedication. And to the film's credit, all that hard work paid off. I try not to go into cinematography because I have a section dedicated to that. But man, this film is gorgeous.
Nah, for real.
The animation team did an amazing job giving these characters so much emotion without overdoing it, if you know what I mean. In the scene where Ramses mourns the loss of his son, of course you have the voice to let us know that he just lost it all. But the lack of movement,
that man is depressed, bro.
And tells you that Ramses has just given up. Most of the scenes that stick out to me are just scenes that involve Ramses. You can just see in his face that he's going through.
The animation is so good. It's like 3D cell shade. I know they use 3D, but
you appear to be his brother, but his rival. It's such a realistic reaction.
this what I don't get. This what I don't get when people be like, you can't express so much in 2D. I'm like, with 2D, you literally have control over anything, bro. The same with 3D. But the thing about 2D is that you can literally convey anything from your mind. With a 3D model, your computer might explode trying to render some stupid shit.
You see how quickly it hurts him, and he almost instantly switches his attitude to become a villain.
It's a give and take with animation, bro.
To you. The scene involving the burning bush is something I love going back to. God's voice is soothing, and the amazing score behind Zimmer playing makes the scene what it is.
He a goat.
Bush is beautiful to look at. It's so relaxing that you just don't want it to end. I couldn't find a proper way to answer this line, but I like the character design.
That man was high as shit smoking that high bush.
Is that people think that the character design is off or too close to a Disney character, which doesn't help the company that at the time wanted to be better than Disney. Honestly, besides that one part with the camel, I dig these design choices, especially the design for.
It's so stylized though. It's like, you ever see like a finely sculpted nigga? That's exactly how these motherfuckers look.
Deliverer shows how brutal the work conditions were for the Hebrews. Like I said earlier,
working like a Hebrew slave.
The Big Boys is so well done. I love the art style they were going for this one. Having everything be dark to only show the high priest's silhouettes. To scare Moses by pulling off tricks and flashing lights to trick everybody.
Right.
I love this one. The final one is the plague, where the animation really shows how beautiful it could be. For me to get into the scene, I had to dabble into
the lighting is so good. I wonder how they did though.
But y'all know the scene is amazing. The mix between hand-drawn and CG in this film works so well. It's mainly for scenes that have a grand scope to it, like in the opening, where the Hebrews are lifting a statue, the parting of the Red Sea, or the Angel of Death.
Right.
I love it when a film can use CG and make it work to the film's advantage.
CG is so good for conveying shit that would take so long to draw that it would just straight up be unconventional to do it. Now everything is CG. Shit that used to be traditional. Now it just looks lazy. This movie is so good.
Before we start drawing them, then we start to try to put it in paper.
From the opening shot to the end.
Right, this is like one of the last great traditional films. When did this come out? 1999 or some shit? I know it came out after Lion King. Lion King was like 95. Oh shit.
Animation is one thing. Does this film have the right voices for these characters? You're probably thrown off at how this is nothing but big name celebrities. Val Kilmer, Sandra Bullock, Jeff Goldblum. You have every right to
I never even noticed that these was like super famous big names, like you just said.
Honestly, everyone in The Prince of Egypt does an amazing job at portraying the characters. Okay, I'll admit it, Jeff Goldblum sticks out like a sore thumb, man. He's not a bad
I didn't even notice that nigga was Jeff Goldblum, bro. He was just a nigga with a beard.
Jeff Goldblum is distracting at some points. Val Kilmer does an amazing job with Moses. He brings so much emotion to this character. When the movie requires Moses to be miserable, dissatisfied, or afraid, Val Kilmer pulls it off perfectly. He also voices God in this film, just like in the 1956 film. Val Kilmer helps give out that soothing voice you'd expect God to sound like in this film. He doesn't have too many lines here, but for the lines he has, it's great. Ray Fiennes voices Ramses, and he gives his best performance every time he's on the screen. The shift from Moses' brother to straight villain is so damn good. Ramses is already a complex character.
The good,
who still respects his brother,
the chops of a voice actor is usually they can voice multiple voices inside of one project.
You can sympathize with Ramses and and not completely hate him. Having Val Kilmer
And it makes sense here, considering Moses was probably high on that bush.
Both actors play off each other well, giving these characters so much personality, and I love it. Sandra Bullock as Marion was something I wasn't expecting to be great at all.
Yo, she is such a good actress.
She gives the character such a big heart. She's always there for Moses to give him advice he needs to hear, and it's the best part of her character.
God will not abandon you.
Another thing,
So don't you abandon us.
she sounds so concerned, like she,
great, but the
like
main focus
a
is
mom.
Let's see. Michelle Pfeiffer goes to support. The same way I feel about Sandra Bullock is the exact same way I feel about Michelle Pfeiffer. Being that person that will stand behind Moses' back even when everyone else isn't too brilliant. Sephora is a great character voiced by an amazing actress. I'm also finding out that she does singing voice for Sephora.
Oh,
And
wow.
every other cast member has someone else singing for them. Patrick Stewart voices the Pharaoh. And to be honest, I didn't even know it was him until I searched it up. I like what he does here. I'd also refer to this where Moses and the Pharaoh speak to each other in a shadowy room. Patrick Stewart makes his character sound like a psychopath that thinks what he did was okay.
Moses, sometimes for the greater good, sacrifices must be made.
Yes, on the behalf of other people.
Jethro is voiced by Danny Glover, and I think he does a great job with the little lines he has, but it's still good stuff. Lastly, we have Steve Martin and Martin Short voicing Hotep and Hoy. I wasn't expecting anything amazing from them. Not because they're bad actors, it's just because they're not as important as everyone else.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, I enjoyed the performance in this film. They're not over the top, and when the film needs Hotep and Hoy to be serious, they work perfectly, without feeling like they're trying too hard.
To me, it's very reminiscent of theater, which I spent a lot of time studying, and rhythms of speech and the importance of each phrase and the kind of work that I've rarely had a chance to do as an actor in film.
Overall, I think the voice guys did a great
Oh,
job.
wow.
For any new viewer, you have nothing to fear. Everyone portrayed their roles perfectly. Well, you just have to get used to Jeff Goldblum.
I feel like Jeff Goldblum tried. It's just that his voice is way too distinct.
The part of the video I was excited to get to. Cinematography and animation, when it's done right, you get some of the most breathtaking feelings in cinema. I made a video on the topic a while back. It's not perfect, but all I wanted to say in that video was pretty decent. The only difference is you hear me talk about the Prince of Egypt. The opening has two shots that stand out every time I think of it. The shot of the soldier looking down on the Hebrews looks so good.
It looks like it just looks like moving art,
How many people are in this situation. Second shot
like a moving picture.
The camera stands up and
Look at the color work on that. It's like purples to pinks. You can instantly tell what time of day it is just by looking at it. It's so good.
More specifically, to show off
I feel like that's what we missing. We missing good color work. You can transition into any.
Ramses refuses to listen. Most films
Hold
do
on.
this in
You
this
can
film.
transition to any color by lighting, bro. That's what I feel like that's what we missing, bro. Unless it's like CG, I feel like we really missing transitional colors and shit like that.
Different here. When Ramses starts to become more sadistic, we get a bunch of low-angle shots. Even though we know Ramses is bad news, the film makes it more tenser due to the proper angle choice. This film loves to use extreme wide shots, and I mean, why wouldn't they? Everything in this film is huge, which makes this film feel grander. I love this ending shot right here where Moses is simply walking off and you see the beautiful background, or the scene where Moses is stuck in the middle of the sandstorm. Stuff like that is just great.
It's also great because it shows a consistent use of an entire stage of animation. So in animation, if you want to give an extreme wide shot, you will want something that's pulled all the way out. But you also have to be aware of where your characters are in space to replicate or to give that off. So taking a biblical film and making it feel accurate is really a feat in of itself, and I really think they knocked it out of the park.
The scene where Moses is heading back to the Pharaoh's palace is great because of the shot of Moses making his way to the Pharaoh, and you see the look of determination on his face. A nice mix of the eye-level shot and showing off the hard labor the Hebrews would go through. The shot is so well done to me. It's satisfying to see Moses choose this path after feeling guilty for what his father did. He knows what he has to do, showing us the Hebrews to show how bad it's gotten, and showing Moses the show Who's Feared to Stop It.
Mhm.
Started out on Play with the Big Boys. I love the way it looks. With having everything darkened and making some of these character silhouettes makes the scene.
The smoke effects go hard. I wonder how they did that. Is that CG?
Some of the most creative cinematography I've seen in an animated film. This scene of the statue being destroyed is great, but this shot of Ramses is way too good. And if you didn't think this ending shot was great, you're probably lying. These last few shots I'm mentioning are both extreme wide shots. So here we go. In the scene where Ramses is carrying his dead son, it gets me all the time.
I just thought about it. I feel like the wide shots in this film is really just to emphasize how you say to make it look big, but also to make us feel like we're a second party. Not that this happened so long ago. It's that it happened so long ago that we can interpret it ourselves at how we feel. That's why I feel like the wide shots was really good. There isn't a couple of like up close shots in this movie, and I feel like it works because this isn't a story that we're a story that we're observing.